to show you two clips and I want you to try and notice the difference between both of them. So in this first clip, try and notice how Donk holds crouch when he's spraying. This is kind of like an old style version of the Donk slide. And then notice in the second clip, if we slow it down, how he taps crouch and it's only for like 200 milliseconds and then stands up and starts shooting. So the first one's more of kind of like a slide, a Donk slide, and the second one's more of an example of a little duck and weave. So to explain this new concept of old versus new Donk slide, I'm going to draw a few things for you. So here I've drawn the old Donk slide and the new Donk slide. So this might just look a bit weird to you, like you're probably asking like what's actually going on here. This black line represents the head of a player. So both of these diagrams are kind of pictures of a gunfight. One is of the old Donk slide and one is of the new Donk slide. Now it looks a bit weird, but I'm going to explain it to you. So the old Donk slide, the space in between here, so crouching and then uncrouching, was much longer, something more like 500 ms. So this was kind of the old Donk slide. This is somewhat of an easier version of the Donk slide, as I showed before. It's still something that we use today, but most of the time players like Keisuke, Donk, Nico are all kind of leaning on this new version, which is more of like a 100 to 250 ms kind of gap in between crouching and then uncrouching. And what this gives you is more accuracy, and as the game kind of moves a little bit more towards CSGO, because we started at one end of the spectrum where the movement was crazy, you could crouch, there was lots of like issues with the servers, you could just wide swing, issues with the actual like player models moving all weirdly. But now that it's so kind of refined, it's kind of moving towards CSGO, it's a bit more optimized. You guys have probably noticed it's a lot harder to swing now, and it's a lot harder to do these kind of crazy crouch, uncrouch, swing, like ping swings. This is because they're optimizing the game slowly. They slowed it down a little bit in recent updates, so that's why people are leaning more towards this. So here's two more examples from that VP game on Overpass of the new Donk slide 2.0. Here he just crouches and hits D and then stands up almost instantly, and then a few rounds later he's coming up long again, same situation, does the exact same, like counter strafes to the right, D, does a little crouch and then stands up. Slow it down, goes to the left, goes to the right, D crouch, and then insta stands up. It's only a few hundred milliseconds there. Compare that to his old Donk slides, which were holding crouch for much longer. Now, do I think Donk deliberately optimized and incorporated this movement style? Probably not. I think he's just very good at adapting and changing to the variables kind of at hand. So I think he's just kind of adapted and felt the difference in the movement in the updates and has kind of just changed it around. I think a lot of it's just, because of the game updates and just how not just strong wide swings are, and you move so much slower while crouched. Early to mid kind of last year, Nico was actually destroying Donk in the head-to-head. Every time they would verse, Nico would kind of smash Donk and kill him way more than Donk would actually kill Nico. The reason for this was Nico was literally only doing the second Donk slide almost every fight, as you can see, so it was kind of countering Donk, especially when he was doing these kind of long crouches, because Nico had the full accuracy and obviously his aim is super good as well. It's interesting though, because then there was a sudden change and Donk actually kind of started destroying Nico, as you can see here, and kind of has done since. So I think this is partly due to the fact that Donk has adopted this second style of the Donk slide and kind of upped the frequency of him using it. Keisuke is also a massive 2.0 Donk slide abuser, and he uses it all the time in so many of his gunfights. Now, what is the reason you would use the old one? So there's certain fights where you actually want to use this old kind of style, and as you saw there, Donk did it down banana on Overpass, but there's also a lot of other kind of fights where you might want to use it. For example, fighting like long range when you know they're like low 50 HP, kind of going for more body shots, but you don't want to get tagged at all. I think also if your aim, like if you're going to be really reflective and notice that your aim actually isn't that good, I see like people who don't have as good aim, they kind of just lean into this movement style because it's still viable. Obviously you're a bit slower than you used to be, but yeah, it's still super hard to hit. It also makes it harder to be super accurate and kind of get that first bullet kill. So if you really like spraying at the body, it might be better for you to just kind of use that old style a bit more. But if you have a really good aim and you want to optimize for that aim, then this style is kind of what the best aimers are adopting. If you're grinding CS2 and you feel like you're stuck or just not improving the way you want, this is for you. I put together a full course designed to help you hit 3k elo. As you guys know, I've spent years competing and coaching players at all levels. I've worked one-on-one with people who are hard stuck, and I've helped them break through by focusing on the stuff that actually matters. In this course, I'll give you the super specific practical advice you need, like the optimal sensitivity range, a training routine, desk height depending on your sensitivity, optimal tone of voice so your teammates actually listen to you in your pug, and other specific stuff like this. We'll also cover how to set up your game optimally, mechanics, communication, everything you need to learn to be 3k elo. So go check it out in the description below.